welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful custom made headbands that are pearl beaded. I'll show you how to do everything from start to finish, how to attach the beads to the headband. And guys, this tutorial is about making a custom headband for any head size. So it's not just make a standard headband and just run with it. I'll be showing you how to take measurements in order to ensure that you can make for an adult and you can make for a child. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome. Kindly click the subscribe button and click the bell so you get updates when I post new videos. And now let's get right into making this beautiful headbands. So in this tutorial, I'll be using this satiny fabric that we have here. Now we need 3 pieces to achieve this headband that we want to make. This first piece is measuring 21 inches on fold. So by the time I open it, it is going to measure 42 inches and it is measuring 10 inches in width. So this is going to be the main piece for the headband, the part that is going to give you that headbandy look. Now, if you want your headband to have a lot more volume, what you need to do is to increase this part a lot more than what I have here and also increase the length. That way you get more volume. The next piece of item we're going to need is our elastic band, and I have mine cut to a length of 8 inches. The next piece is the elastic casing piece, and I have mine measuring 15 inches by 3.5 inches. The next piece that we are going to need is the inner fabric piece, which is going to, sort of like make the headband scrunched up. And this part is measuring 17 inches by 4 inches. Now, I want to quickly explain something. What makes the headband the size of your head, especially if you are making a custom headband, is this inner fabric piece and your elastic piece. Those are the 2 most important things that make your headband the actual size. So I'm making this headband for a head circumference of 23 inches, and I have my inner fabric measuring 17 inches and my elastic measuring 8 inches. So that is 25 inches. We are going to sew both pieces by half an inch here and half an inch on this side, and that will bring it down to 23 inches. So when creating a custom headband, whether it is for a child or for an adult, the elastic band and the inner fabric are what gives the measurement of the head. One thing I would advise you to do is, for the measurement of your elastic, just measure from ear to ear at the back of your head so you would know what to use for your elastic and what to use for your inner fabric. I hope that makes sense. Other items that I'm going to need are this UHU glue and these flat pearl beads that you can see here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my main fabric piece and my elastic casing piece. I'm going to make a fold of my elastic casing piece with right sides touching right sides, and I'll go on to sew by a half an inch seam allowance all the way down. Take the main fabric piece, I'm going to fold it with right sides touching so it's closed all the way from top to bottom by a half an inch seam allowance. So after sewing, this is what we have. What I want to do next is to turn this right side out. So I'll get the big piece, which is our main fabric piece, and I'm going to use my hand to turn it right sides out like this. For the second piece, that is the elastic casing piece, I'm going to be using a safety pin to turn it right sides out, and I'll be doing it at the same time as inserting my elastic. So I'm going to grab my elastic as it is. Here is my elastic casing, here is my safety pin. So I'm going to hook the safety pin onto my elastic like this and hook it onto one part of the elastic casing fabric. Close the pin, and then we're going to push it into the elastic casing fabric, turning the fabric right sides out and pushing our elastic through at the same time, just like this. Okay, so instead of just turning your fabric and then now putting the elastic parts, you get to do both of them at the same time. So now that my pin is on this other side, I'm just going to gently arrange my elastic casing over the elastic. Okay, and you want to make sure that while you're pulling your fabric through, your elastic doesn't go in. If not, you have to repeat the process all over again. Okay, so take your time and pull your fabric through like this. So now that I have my elastic casing fabric right sides out, I'm going to push the elastic fabric to the edge, take this to my sewing machine and sew this part by a 1/4 inch. And you need to make sure that the seam of the elastic casing is in the middle. So after sewing this part down, holding the elastic inside down as well. Okay, so you want to sew on the elastic. That's the purpose of sewing this part. I'm going to come right here, push my fabric down like this. Remember that you still have your pin hooked to the elastic and the fabric. So I'm just going to unhook it now, and you have to be careful so that your elastic doesn't fall back in. And I place the seam in the middle, the seam of the fabric in the middle like this, and I'll go on to sew this part as well by 1/4 inch. Now that we have the elastic sewn into the casing fabric, we're going to keep this aside, and we're going to grab our main fabric piece as well as our inner fabric piece. Now this is what we want to do with our inner fabric piece. We're going to be inserting it into the main fabric with our safety pin. So I'm just going to pin one end like so, and we're going to pass it through one part of the main fabric. So I just push it in like this. So can you see what I'm doing? And then I'll go on to sew it down at the edge, making sure that it is edge to edge with the main fabric. All right, I'll make sure that the seam is in the middle as well, and I'll go on to sew the two together by 1/4 inch. Then I'll find where the safety pin is, and we're going to use that to guide the inner fabric on the inside of this main fabric piece. We're going to guide it to the other end here. As we push the fabric through, this is the result. This is what you will get. So what I'm going to do at this other end is to sew down as well with 1/4 inch, making sure that I hold the inner fabric piece to the main fabric as I sew along. So after sewing the two ends together, this is what we have. And what we want to do next is to combine these two pieces to have the headband. So what we're going to do at this point is to place right sides. Okay, I'm going to use where the seam is as the wrong side for both of them. Okay, so just take note of the seam on your main fabric and the elastic casing. That will be the wrong side. What I'm going to do now is place right sides touching, and I make sure that the elastic fabric is right in the middle of the main fabric. And what I'm going to do is take this side over the elastic casing fabric, take this other side over the piece we just used to cover the elastic casing fabric, just like this. I'm going to hold it down with my peg. I'll do the same thing for the other side as well, making sure that right sides are touching right sides. And I make sure that the elastic casing fabric is right in the middle of the main fabric piece. I cover once, I cover twice, and then I peg down. So what I'm going to do right now is to sew these two edges down with a 1/2 inch seam allowance to have our headband done. So after sewing the two sides, this is what we have, and we're going to just pull it out like this to have this part hidden. Okay, so I pull it out like this, I pull this part as well, and we have our headband. So the next thing I want to show you is how to embellish this headband, and I want to advise that you place it as randomly as possible. Okay, so first of all, I'll get my beads, and this is what I have right here. These are gold flat beads or gold plated flat beads. What I'm going to do is to just apply a little bit of glue right on the bead, just a little bit, and you're going to look for a spot to place your bead. So I'll place this one right here. So can you see how I placed it? And what we want to do is to spread our fabric open like this so that you can press the bead onto the fabric and it stays glued. So all you need to do is just allow it to dry, but you can continue to place more beads on your headband. So I'm just going to repeat this again. I place my glue right on top. I look for a spot, place the glued bead on the fabric, stretch out my fabric a bit like this, press the bead down so it can glue properly. And there we have it. So I'm just going to look for other places to place the beads and come show you guys the result. So it is very, very simple. So after placing the beads in as much places as I want, this is the result. You can go ahead and flood your headband with beads if that is what you want. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, kindly give us a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell so you get updates when I post new videos, and I will be seeing you guys in my next tutorial. Bye!